Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Moviecast episode 673. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy,
What's up?
Corey Feinsod,
Hey, hey.
and Tony Kokonakis.
Yo.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners and viewers. We are live on Twitch right now, starting Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. Please join us. If you missed these live, broadcasts, we're over on YouTube. All the content's there. So subscribe to YouTube if you want to watch the older episodes. A lot of great conversations we've had. But this is Twitch night right now. We're live on Twitch. You can always join these and we'll answer some questions while we're on the air. We'll have conversations. But welcome, guys, to the Moviecast. So, I think I want to just really talk about the box office first before we get into what we've been up to, if that's cool, you guys.
That's what we always do.
No, I think we do what we've been up to first, then the box office. Am I wrong?
Oh, okay.
I thought we did, but
Who knows?
who knows? But anyways, so the box office this week, The Marvels was number one. However,
Was it?
Was it a win? I don't think so, and I think that's what we have to talk about. 46 million, with I think reported 220 million budget. I think we've heard. So it's been. I don't know. I mean, not a great opening weekend. Not sure what caused this problem.
No, it was terrible.
Is it part of the actor strike? Was that the problem with it?
I mean, that contributed. I think it's a bunch of different things.
Help.
A little fatigue?
I mean, you could say fatigue. I mean, I would think, it's... We talked about it, but it was one ask when it was like you saw 3 movies a year, right? Because most people are like, oh, whatever. And like, if you miss a movie, usually by the time the next one rolls around, you could see it pretty quickly. This movie required you to watch WandaVision and Ms. Marvel as prerequisites to not be lost.
Yeah, like hours. Yeah.
Yeah, which is a pretty tall order, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, certainly the fact that they couldn't really promote the film using the actors and actresses and stuff like that didn't help. I mean, box office overall is still in a slump, despite like Barbie and Oppenheimer this year.
I mean, it's really... I don't even know how the experts do this because it's really hit or miss these days. We don't know what's going to blow up and what's going to just bomb, essentially. And there's more bombs than success right now. I think I know a lot of it had to do with what I was reading about was there's obviously the sect online that is the anti-MCU, as they say, the wokeness of Disney. And I'm not going to chalk it up entirely to that aspect of things because I think the other aspect...
They were there the first time and it didn't matter.
Absolutely. I think the other aspect is the appeal. I don't think, and this is on Disney and Marvel, I don't think they've appealed enough to female viewers, women. I don't think that they've grown that audience like they wanted to.
The women audience, female audience, is down significantly. I think it was 20-something% compared to 40% the first time around.
I think that, what this movie is. I mean, the first female black female director in the MCU. She apparently, and I don't know how this movie is. I know Tony, I think you saw. We'll hear about that. But there's so many firsts for this, and there's some great things that I thought that you get more women to watch this movie, especially with Barbie being as impactful as it was this year. I don't know. I was shocked at that. And I think that Disney failed to, draw that crowd in, I guess is the best way to say it. I think that's a failure on their end. And then you had the normal goers, which are fine. But I think that's even weaning out in 2, just because of the ask, as you said, ask.
I mean, it's only lack of marketing and the marketing tools that they had.
And then strike too.
Yeah,
and the strike.
Marketing,
strike. Just because like coming into it, I had no idea what the purpose of this movie was, or what it's about, or what's going on. Like, just from the trailers, you have no idea anything. It doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't get you excited for anything. And there's like this gap between Captain Marvel and this movie. And this movie's not Captain Marvel 2. It's Marvel, so it sounds like maybe it's a different movie.
Yeah, I think the naming thing was different too. They seriously just should have went with like Captain Marvel something.
I mean, Captain Marvel was $1 billion movie, right?
Yeah.
And like, how long did it take to get this out? Plus, you're throwing in, like Tony said, you're throwing in characters that you don't know anything about unless you invested into something that was not a movie, and so I think that it confuses people, and it just doesn't resonate well because this doesn't really follow up anything that happened in the first one either. There's like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like a sequel even, and we'll talk about it, I guess, more.
Yeah, and then lastly, I think the big significant factor that has plagued Disney this entire year, not just with Ms. Marvel or the Marvels, but I think it culminated here, was the fact that they trained their audience over the pandemic that, hey, Disney Plus, just wait like 2 months, it'll be on Disney Plus, right? Or you can pay the whatever, and that, and to a lesser degree, I mean that's impacted, you know, Max, you know, Paramount Plus, all that stuff. I mean, everything, almost everything bombed that traditionally this year that should have been a hit sequel. Like, I mean, what, the Fast movie was down.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible was down. Indiana, like, these
Mission Impossible was
traditional
a big failure.
Traditional safe sequels all bombed this year. So, you know, it's just, it's tough all around, and I'm not excusing it or anything like that. I just think that's the reality of the market, is that these companies propped up the streaming because that was the next big thing, and it's like, oh, we gotta, how do we put the cat back in the bag, right? That's what it is. I mean, they can't do that.
And Churro, to your point, Churro, thanks for joining us again on Twitch, by the way. Live Tuesday nights, everybody. Churro, to your point as well, I think the tiredness of Marvel, I believe that I go back to the fact that, like, that points to more about direction of Marvel. Like, I think that, you know, we had that whole Endgame run, and, like, everybody's looking for what's happening here, and it just seems very confusing. And the multiverse maybe wasn't the right move in direction for this, because it's confusing for people. It seems like it's just not as interesting, and everybody's looking for Avengers, and where is it? You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't even know if we're gonna get Kang Dynasty now. They've been talking. The writer for the Kang Dynasty just got let go, from what I read. Not to say they're canceling that movie, but he was let go, which is not a good sign. And you know, we don't know the direction. We don't have a good blueprint that we saw last time. I feel like that's on fire.
Yeah, I mean, the Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity Wars, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's pretty easy sell, right? I mean, that's pretty straightforward. The whole Secret Wars thing is just kind of messy, and, like, even me, like, I would consider myself not, like, super hardcore into, like, comics, but, like, you know, enough that I've read a bunch of stuff, and even that to me is just like, wait, what? Like,
yeah,
you know, and it's just it's a big mess. So, you know, it's a taller ask. Not to mention, I think the thing is, you know, they retired their A-listers, right? Both Iron Man and Captain America, right? Ended like in the same movie, right? Because they haven't seen him back in both. Yep. I know they're both coming back in the future and stuff like that. So you still have Thor. Thor's fine, right? You know, his movie still did pretty decently and stuff like that. But then, you know, we can't ignore the fact that Chadwick Boseman, who's supposed to lead up the next, you know, era Avengers, passed away. And then, you know, again, Wakanda Forever, even though that was down, I mean, that was a movie that should have bombed, like, completely, just on paper. It's like, oh, we're not recasting, and we can't use that main character now. It's like, all right,
they pulled it off. And that was okay what they did. Yeah.
So all of the last phase was really, like, just introducing new characters, but none of them necessarily picking up the mantle. And I think that's the big problem there, is we don't have anybody gearing up to anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, there's no.
That's what I mean by direction.
To what we're doing, and, like, Secret Wars, as far as, like you said, to your point, it's not necessarily the most popular or well-known story. It's not something people are, like, looking forward to, like, oh, this is the big bad we're gonna have to watch out for, and the problem with that is the big bad in that story is not even in the Marvel universe right now, and so they're kind of flipping it with this Kang Dynasty, which we'll see what they do there, but, you know, so far it's been a miss with Ant-Man. And
yeah, I mean, that's how much of it was killed from previous movies that just haven't been interesting, like previous material too. Like, some of the stuff just has not been good, and it is what it is. Like, Quantumania was not a good movie. It was a disappointment. I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't like terrible, but I'm just saying that it was a disappointment. That's what I'll phrase it as. But go on, Mike.
It seems they've just lost the casual audience completely at this point.
Maybe that's it, and that's where the money is.
That's what I'm saying.
That might be where those demographic numbers come from a little bit, too. I think, but it's just, you know, things have seemed real splintered. It's very really, even though it's a cosmic story, the
Yeah.
Infinity Gauntlet is pretty straightforward. It's literally MacGuffins, like
Hmm.
very obvious MacGuffins. Collect the MacGuffins. Now we're doing, there's a new version of Everybody Everywhere All at Once,
Yeah.
which is a better version of the multiverse movie.
Fantastic version of the multiverse movie. Yeah, go on.
And so it's very confusing. It's very fractured everywhere too with the Disney Plus stuff, and there's no people don't know what's the main line anymore, and because of that, and again, this extends to all superhero movies. I feel like now that everyone's conditioned for it all tying together and there being mainline Avengers movies, and having the core 4 or 5 or whatever have their own movies. We're not doing that anymore. It's all just all over the place, and it's just a hard ask for people to know what to
Yeah.
watch now.
Yeah. That's it. So maybe that is hurting them more. So I don't know. Tony, you went and saw this core. Did you see it by chance? I didn't see your reply.
I did see it.
You guys did.
Mhm.
So Tony, what did you think of it? Spoiler free, obviously here, but
I thought it was okay. I mean, it's inoffensive. The short runtime kind of helped it in the way that you didn't you just kind of went from scene to scene. It's like okay, like a roller
can't question
coaster.
it. Can't question it too much.
Yeah,
right?
you
Just
can't
go.
question it too much.
Yeah.
But for me, I wish it slowed down a bit. I wish we had that 15 to 20 minutes more. And I think I criticize this about Thor: Love and Thunder and stuff too. Like when you're doing some of these characters and their growth and the arcs and
Yeah.
stuff like that, you need some of that breathing time, that slow thing where hey, these characters, they don't need to be fighting and punching and kicking and whatnot. Sometimes they just need to talk, right? And there were a couple scenes in here where I'm just like, oh, this is it. This is gonna be whatever, and it's barely addressed, and it's okay, on to the next scene. I'm like, let them breathe, let them cook, and it's just a shame because you have 3 fantastic actresses, and Ms. Marvel especially. I think her actress' name is Amon.
Yeah, Iman, yeah.
She is fantastic, and I wish she had a chance to actually really develop her character more in this.
She was great on her show. That
yeah,
show
and
was
she's great here too.
Should have been watched way more.
Absolutely,
it was a really good show. Yeah.
And I'm hoping maybe one of the downstream effects is that maybe people will go back, and watch the show again, stuff like that, or watch the show for the first time, because she really is a gem, and I think if they can get back on track, she could be a major, character moving forward, especially with some things that happen.
Well, I mean,
we talked about we've seen all the young versions of characters popping up, so we know that Young Avengers is probably coming at some point, and obviously she's a big factor in that, I would say. But as far as the actress goes, I agree that she's a bright point because she's so genuine. Her fandom of this of Marvel movies and everything. It's real in real life. It's real, and so it bleeds through here because of her character is also a mega fan of Captain Marvel in the cinematic universe, and so you can see that, and just it's nice to see a character and an actress aligned so well and just kind of shine on screen there. But I do feel that the runtime was fine for me. This movie wasn't anything special. It was just fine.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, honestly, I think Blue Beetle is a lot more fun than this movie.
I could see that.
I want to see that
watch
movie.
that, but
I heard it was fun. I saw it on the list for sales, movies on sale this week, and I was like, maybe.
There's just a lot of why are people doing what they're doing? And it's why? It's why are you doing this? Or you're making choices that don't necessarily make sense here and there.
Do you think the release window hurts it more? Because let's say this comes out in the summer. Is there why questions in the summer? Popcorn flicks, right? I mean, that's really what this would be.
No,
and I think
don't necessarily. I think it's just the fact again. I had really no idea going into this movie, what is happening here, what's going on, and then, we know Fury's in this, and we have Saber, and it's what are they doing? What's the purpose here? Last time we saw Fury's and Secret Wars. Before that, if you want to go to his end, his stinger sequence when he's with a bunch of scrolls, what's what the question's not answered as far as where has he been and what has he been doing, and what are we doing here? There's no answers there.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, we're just focusing on these three ladies, which is fine. That's what the movie's about. But like, we haven't seen Fury in how long, and now he just pops up here.
Well,
and like,
he was in Secret Invasion. I didn't watch it, so I don't know what happened.
Right. Well, that's what I've been saying. Like, you don't know what happens. Like, there's no answers.
I guess
for anybody.
I guess this movie actually
in
had
that
3
show?
prerequisites.
That would be it then. Yeah, more prerequisites.
No, it doesn't matter.
you don't know.
It does not matter if you watch Secret Invasion, because
Well,
this
I know
movie
the story
doesn't
from
address
Secret- yeah.
anything about that.
I was gonna say I know what
whatsoever.
happened in Secret Invasion. I'm like that. It doesn't explain where he's been either in Secret Invasion.
Mhm.
It just
No,
yeah.
doesn't do anything.
So
They don't talk about like, and like Skrulls show up in this, but they're not Skrulls you know or care about.
oh really? I mean, all
So
right.
it's just like, okay.
It's a missed opportunity there. But again,
And then
maybe they.
like, and then there's like, why? So there's Skrulls here, but why aren't there more Skrulls here?
Yeah.
And then there's it's like a
Yeah,
lot of
like,
questions for me that just don't
That's an
add
aspect
up.
of things that doesn't make any sense. Like, why not cash that in for people that watch the show? Like, give them something from that show into this movie. It's a very simple ad.
I had
Give
read
them
that-
something.
They
What
actually
happened
filmed
first?
a lot of stuff. Apparently, what's her name? Kobe, whatever, as Maria Hill. So apparently, she was supposed to be in the movie. They filmed stuff with her, but
Oh,
they cut it, and it's just like,
Mhm.
why did you do that? You know, like,
yeah. Why?
you know, like
Exactly.
why?
But I don't know.
No, I mean, there's like it's not like, I mean, there's definitely a lot of really neat things that happen in this movie, and again, the actresses are great, and I did really like the swapping aspect.
Yeah, that first
that
fight
we
sequence
saw.
is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like them figuring that out is great, and you get the intergalactic sequence, which or the Beastie Boys intergalactic song montage, because you got to have that in a space movie. So yeah, no, I mean, it's not a bad film for sure. It's not the worst Marvel
It's mid.
film released this year.
Yeah, that's reserved. All right, cool.
Yeah,
Let's get into more of what we've been up to, guys. Continuing on with Marvel. You watched the Loki finale, I would assume, right? We all watched that. Well, Mike didn't watch. Mike, you're not watching Loki this year, right?
Probably not,
Very.
no.
You watched the first season, though, right?
Yeah.
I would totally recommend you watch Loki season 2. Like, fantastic show. Like, I thought this whole season was really good. Not as good as the first season, but this finale was excellent. Like, I very much love this finale. So
The finale had some of the best music in any thing that, like, any TV
media.
movie,
Yeah,
anything
media,
that I've
yeah.
seen this year. Like, I watched the finale twice just to listen to the music.
Yeah, and I just love the arc for Loki that they've given him. Like, it's such a cool to keep it. I'm keeping it as vague as possible. I just loved all about there was so many great aspects of this season actually that maybe it's a rival for season 1. I don't know. I feel like season 1 was better for me, but this was really good. Tony, what'd you think?
Yeah, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
I think it was a slow start because I watched the first episode. I was like, okay, like whatever, and then I kind of dragged my feet to episode 2 and 3. But after that, it just
I waited,
kicked up,
yeah.
and I was like, oh
Yep.
shit, and they can tell a good story. They really can. Great story even.
This is this writer and Moon Knight's writer are tapped. They're rumored to be tapped for Secret Wars.
That's good. That's promising. But yeah, I mean, this really cements Loki as like one of the most memorable and likable characters, from the MCU, which he already was. But like, it's like, okay, there's no question about it, right? Where
Definitely cements his spot in the hierarchy of characters and.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, it's one of those things where you're like, oh shit, like, okay, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Just nod your head. It's pretty good.
And just like seeing where he was in Thor to where he is now, and they do a callback.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
That's what I loved, and that was an ad-lib line, by the way, for him. I can't say what line it is. I'm just trying to keep it vague here, but there was Tom Hiddleston actually added that into the script.
Oh, that's cool.
Finale. He came up with that, and that was the callback, and everybody was like,
You're talking
"That was
about
amazing."
His last lines.
His last line, his last line. It was such an awesome callback there for that part. But yes, there was more of it. But yeah, great. I mean, I really didn't think they were going to stick this landing because this is again multiverse, time travel. I mean, it is like all over the place. I don't know how this works
favorite like story things that if they do it well, like the Groundhog Day thing, right? So you have the Groundhog Day thing, with like like I loved that and how they approach it there. I loved
It's like, come on, we gotta go. Oh, it'll be
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Don't
so
worry
you know
about it.
this. You know this. Yes.
right.
You know
So
this.
Do not set it down. It will roll off. What I
yeah,
say?
so just, like,
Do not
the
set it down.
frustration of like knowing how everything's gonna play out and just like let's go, and like having to like explain everything over and over again. But yes, they do like a type of Groundhog Day aspect to this episode, which is great.
It reminded
and
me
you
of what they did with Doctor Strange, the first one. But go on. Yeah, it's the same idea.
and yeah,
but
and
go
the
on.
aspect of time, like there's a moment where you're like, oh shit, like with what they do with time, it's just like a title screen, and you're like, wow, okay,
Yeah.
this is really happening. So yeah, no, it's amazing what they did. I feel like this is a way that you can absolutely write out certain characters if you want, and now you have
Yeah.
you're a new
Recast.
yeah, you can do like a whole new thing. And I love the part where Loki at one point just like, are you gonna do anything? But
There's some great.
yeah,
There's some
no,
great
it's
lines.
a great episode. I would highly recommend fans of time travel and Loki and
Yeah, I mean, I would
good
go as,
stories.
like, don't get me wrong. Loki season 1 was good,
Yeah.
but I think I like 2 better. I think I like 2 better. Just
I mean,
because like the first one, I didn't feel like it stuck the landing so much for me personally.
No, so that's what I'm saying. You can argue that the finale was better. Absolutely. I mean, I think this finale was phenomenal, especially for something that's could be a series finale. We don't know, but it has some closure that I thought, like you guys said, is amazing for a character to have. In just the entire universe, and it's like that's why, Mike, you should definitely consume this. This is worth watching, 100%.
We'll see, maybe.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Well, I mean,
all right.
you're gonna get characters from here in Deadpool 3, so
Yeah, you should probably check it out. It's you'll definitely enjoy this, Mike. There's no question.
And I will say the supporting
no
characters did a fantastic job as well. Like
That's what I
Mobius,
mean.
as always,
excellent.
fantastic.
Yeah, excellent.
Even Major, like it kind of sucks as like seeing Majors play a variety of roles. Like you're like, damn, like
his range is so
so
good.
good.
So I understand what brought Marvel to the table.
he's a great actor.
It is funny because like him playing on the one character, I kept forgetting. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
that's him. Like I'm like, oh my god, you played Timely too good. And he quit Quan, my boy. I mean,
Yeah.
so good.
I mean, it's so like I'm sorry he's been away so long. Like I just wish he had come back. I know it was like a whole thing he was going through, but I'm like, God, he's so good. He's so good.
Mm-hmm.
No, and there's some very emotional beats here that feel that pay off well. I don't feel like they were forced or out of place or anything. It's just yeah. Overall,
Cool.
just a really good completion to the character's story for what a full circle type of thing that he's doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And like
Alright.
Glorious Purpose, like the first episode is called Glorious Purpose. And
What's my
purpose?
purpose? Yeah. Yes. That's.
I like there's one line I love that Mobius says. It's like, purpose is more like it's not about the glory. It's more about like a burden or something. I can't like paraphrasing, but it's like instead of being like glorious purpose, it's it's a more of a if you want the glory, it's also like responsibility and things.
All right. Mike, have you watched anything this last week or?
No.
I didn't mean to just cut you out. I mean, I just know you hadn't watched Loki, but you should definitely check it out. I'd love to hear your opinions on it. So, all right. Anything else, Corey, to add?
Yeah, I watched Gen V, the boys spinoff. I have to
I heard it was
say,
okay.
that show is awesome.
Really?
I really liked it a lot. There's a lot of inappropriate parts and like, gratuitous aspects to it because it's a boys spinoff.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a very well done like spin-off as far as like taking characters that are apart from the main boy story and then putting them into a school setting. It's very X-Men-esque, and all these heroes and towers and dealing with powers and growing up and all that kind of stuff. And there's a mystery to it where the golden, literally one of the character's name is Golden Boy. He's having these like nightmare flashback things, and you're like the mystery of that. And so the whole show kind of kicks off with him essentially killing himself, and then you're like, why did this happen? Like, what is going on here? Why did he do that? And so I thought it was really cool. Good show. Like I blew through it in a week. So I think, and it's only like 8 episodes, I think. So
Hour long each?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a long. That's a big ask.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it's
the characters are really well done. I think all the kids in it are.
I just the boys. I stopped watching I just couldn't get past the gratuitous violence of it. It just that was it for me. It was too much for me, and I don't I want to. I hear it's very good, this show. I'm just like, I'm not gonna see it. So
No, it's
Tony,
not for everyone. I do appreciate they didn't. It's not as bad as the boys, in my
yeah,
opinion. But I haven't like it's the same thing. I haven't watched the boys since season 1. So
no.
Mm. Okay.
Anything for you, Tony?
Yeah, a couple things. So I forgot to mention last week, but Invincible season 2 started.
Yes, I watched that too.
So we're
sorry.
more
Yeah.
talk about gratuitous violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different though, because I think with in animation, it's just easier to like kind of like
Absolutely.
accept.
I
Like,
feel almost
Sure.
the opposite because I feel like everything is done with more intention in animation. It makes it like more disturbing to me.
I don't know, man. Like the boys had a very specific thing that happened that just was like, I'm out of this show. But the Invincible,
like-
I've watched those 2 episodes and I'm like, this is fine. I don't know.
It's funny to me the Omni-Man fatality in Mortal Kombat where he basically does the head squeeze thing again. I find that more disturbing than any Mortal Kombat other fatality, just because like, and I feel like this is part of like the Kirkman vibe. There's just a lot of focus on the moment that a person goes from a person to a messy like pile of shit, and like I don't know, it just seems to like marinate on that moment too much to me. Like it bothers me.
Yeah. I don't know. It's only been 2 episodes, right, friends?
yeah, it's only unfortunately they're only doing 1 episode a week. Plus they're
Yeah.
doing a mid-season break.
It's a mid-season.
So,
only like
2 more episodes. So
Mm.
we'll have this Friday and next Friday, and they're taking a break until the new year, I believe. Stuff like that. Which is kind of unfortunate because it's really good. It picks off where season 1 left off, and just the main characters picking up the pieces.
I had to go back and watch the recap. I skipped the recap first, and then I'm watching the first episode. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And then I realized I'm like, oh, I know
Yeah.
what they're doing here. Okay.
Yeah, it was confused.
Okay.
It was like, wait a second.
I was like, did I miss something? What is this? But yeah, no. Then I was like, okay, now I know what's going on. Okay.
Yeah, but it's interesting. Mark is such a likable character.
Yeah.
And Steven Yeun makes like a great, really brings him to life, right?
He does a great
teenager,
job, of course. Absolutely.
and stuff like that. So that's been excellent. Even watched because I forgot to do it, but Adam Eve had a special
Yep,
that I
I watched that one.
guess and that's really good too. So I finished those, and I also finished that Apple TV Plus show I watched called Shrinking.
Yeah.
With Jason Segel and Harrison Ford. Fantastic show, absolutely incredible. If you were a fan of like Ted Lasso, like you definitely should watch because I think one of the co-writers also worked on that show too. So like they're a shared pool or whatever like that. But I highly recommend it. I mean, especially just Harrison Ford, like being in a TV series where he can just like swear and like just be a cranky ass old man. It's so funny and it's so good.
One of the things that I love about Ted Lasso is that all of the humor is not like putting someone down or making putting someone's expense to get a laugh. Like that, I think, is what makes Ted Lasso so special. Is that similar with Shrinking, where it's like you're not using other people's pain or suffering to get a laugh or something? It's not like using.
No.
Or is it?
No. I mean, there might be like some things with like
None of that.
some of the characters that are like closer friends, like that they'll like poke fun at each other. Like we talk shit at each other, right? But like it's never in like a public forum or something like that where like somebody's just getting like, demeaned or belittled in a mean, vicious, like obvious, like So same type of humor there, and Jason Segel, like he goes through the gamut in this because like again. The whole premise of the show is that Jason Segel plays a therapist whose wife died a year ago, and he's just an absolute wreck because obviously his love of his life passed away, and it's about him trying to help himself, right? And he can't do that until he starts like really helping his patients because he starts to approach it from a different angle, from an outside of the box thing where like. He kind of goes through the motions with all his regular patients of like, oh yeah, it's really bad, and we got to talk about our feelings. And again, spoilers just for episode 1. Where he's telling like this one woman that always complains about her husband. He's like, you need to fucking get away from him or I'm going to stop being your therapist because we've been doing this for years and nothing ever changes. And, you know, it spurs her to like, okay, I'll do it. And then he's like, wait, maybe I should do this with all my patients, right? So then he starts doing this, like, you know, really untraditional method of therapy and stuff like that. And through that, he helps himself in a way by starting to help patients genuinely and stuff like that. So, fantastic show. Would highly recommend. And confirmed season 2, so it's doing well.
How many episodes season 1?
8.
Hour?
Yep.
Half hour.
Yeah, 40, 45, 50 minutes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. And I will recommend watching Upload, Greg Daniels' show on Amazon. The characters
get better after episode 2.
Yeah, I love the characters. It really is like The Office.
Characters too.
The story itself is like whatever, but the characters are so good.
I dropped out of that early in season 2.
I just finished season 3. I really just enjoy the every character that they've built in that show, like all their resolutions they're giving them and how they're growing. It's really cool. So, all right, let's get into the news though. The
big
SAG-AFTRA. Yeah, the big news is the strike ended last week, right after the podcast on Tuesday. Their last and final offer. Yeah, shortly after. Their last and final offer, which was rejected, apparently was not the last and final offer, as we said. Overnight, they worked to a new agreement. So the actors got their pay and their agreements to not use their likenesses without consent. It was a whole bunch of aspects that they got on this, and I couldn't remember if we reported this last week. I feel like we've talked about it, but So it was a good deal for them. Everybody's getting back to work, so we're getting flooded with news now. Things are starting up. Stranger Things gonna finally get work done. I think Last of Us, January 7th start date for that show. Yep. Everything's gonna be like Deadpool. It's still gonna make the summer release.
Yep.
I believe. Maybe, right? Is it maybe?
Everything got moved, so there's a whole
maybe.
Is it set for summer still? I don't know. But I know everything got moved out of the other stuff. There's like 6 superhero shows movies coming in 2025, and one of them is actually Superman. As James Gunn tweeted out after this ended, that
keeping its original date
keeping its original date of July. What was it? July 11th, 2025. Superman Legacy.
Got time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's got plenty of time on that. But there's going to be 6 superhero movies that year. So I don't even know. I don't know how they're going to. I think it's 6. Or is it 5?
We're going to have 6 this year.
Yeah, but I mean, that's true. That's true. So there's a lot of Marvel stuff that year, though. Like a lot of big movies coming. So Fantastic Four, I think, is probably coming. If they're still going to make that.
No, there's no way it makes 2024.
Blade is coming that year.
Blade was supposed to be out already.
Yeah. So I mean, that's been going through rewrites, but I don't know. So it's good news
Captain
for everybody.
America got pushed to 2025.
Yeah, it's another one. So there you go, more 2025. So
it's gonna be empty next year. Very empty.
I mean, next year, Deadpool's the only Marvel movie that's scheduled on the docket for 2024.
There's nothing for DC. I mean, it's over. So Aquaman's coming this year, and then that's it. So there's only one.
They really have nothing after Aquaman until
Superman Legacy, I think, is it. Yeah. So that's their kickoff.
They couldn't. It's over.
It's ended. Yeah. So
I was thinking maybe they could do Joker 2 or the Batman.
Oh, they do a Joker 2. Joker 2 is coming next. I think that is coming. Or is it 2025, I think, as well? I don't know. Everything got delayed so much.
I don't know.
It's October 4th.
The Batman is still the 28th.
October 4th, right? 2024 for Joker 2. So that might be next year, too. As long as it's not going to get pushed from all of this. Who knows? But I don't think so. So let's see. 2024, though. We will be getting on Netflix a sequel to another season of Arcane.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that was announced, which is impressive.
And after that ending, you're like,
I didn't see it.
Where's it?
Yeah.
What?
I gotta watch it. I didn't watch it.
What?
I didn't watch it. I know. I didn't watch it. I never watched that show.
What the fuck?
I watched the first episode. Never watched the rest of it. I'm sorry. Wow. Okay, that is gonna be a must-watch.
I mean, I think Tony and I have only been like praising it for the past year and a half or whatever.
Yeah, I only did the first episode, and that was it. I never got back to. I was like in my Netflix up and down that time, and I never got into it, so I just didn't watch it. But I know. I never watched it. Tony,
You
you're like,
watch way too much stupid shit to not have watched
Look,
Arcane.
listen. Well, it's because I haven't really been subscribed to Netflix at all.
That's
so-
fine. It was a year and a half ago, dude.
I know. I've subscribed like 2 months in the last year. I am right
That's
now.
plenty
I
of
can probably
time.
watch it.
It's only like 8
I know. I can probably
episodes.
watch it. So yeah, I should. But they're only an hour long.
Right?
All right, aren't they? Okay,
Eight episodes, but
if they're
an
half
hour
an
long.
hour, if they're half an hour, I have no excuse. But I don't know. All right, what else we have here in the news? We've got movies. Oh, Coyote, Coyote versus Acme. Warner Brothers has decided to axe the project and do it as a tax write-off again. They're very famous for this. So
Apparently,
this was a.
Episodes are 40 minutes long. Just
40 minutes.
It was.
The
Was it?
Arcane, yeah.
Arcane.
Arcane,
They're
40 minutes
They're
ago.
40 minutes.
This
Yeah,
is
so-
the third 8 episodes, but hour long reference so far.
So the co-written by James Gunn, starring John Cena, movie that they put together, which is finished, has decided that it's not going to be seeing the light of day. It was decided. We'll see about that in a second.
So
but,
apparently, because
go on.
this came out and
Yeah.
like this again is like the third movie Warner Brothers has done this to. This
Yep.
was the straw that broke the camel's back apparently because there's a
Yes.
huge backlash against it,
Nonsense.
where
Well-
Warner Brothers now is getting bullied, quote
People-
unquote, bullied
yeah.
into selling it to another service to either air or distribute in
there
theaters.
was legitimate people that were in business negotiations to sell
Yeah.
the movies that canceled their
That-
meetings.
and
literally.
yes, that was the other part. Apparently, a lot of companies just were like, any meetings we have with Warner Brothers, just cancel it.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, it's shocking that James Gunn is their DC universe person now, and they're going to just cancel a project that he worked on like that. I feel like he couldn't even say
No
anything. Yeah, I know, but I just feel like he, can say anything about it. But I mean, like that's kind of a punch to the gut for him, especially if the movie's finished. And from what I'm hearing, it's people have liked it. It's fun from what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a bad film. Like I know Batgirl, people said it was a train wreck and blah blah blah, but I mean that was finished too. The tax write off may cost wise for that probably makes more sense. This is like a $30 million tax write off, which doesn't sound like a lot of money for a studio to write off. I don't know, but so I mean it's good news. I think Netflix is one of the big companies in Amazon that are looking at picking it up. I would assume one of them will buy this, and because it's finished. You're buying a finished product. I mean it's.
Watch absolutely no one watch it wherever it goes.
I'll check this out. I like the Legion
Not before
stuff.
fucking Arcane.
I like it, but I don't know if I'm like, oh, Wile E. Coyote.
Oh
yes.
man, I gotta watch Arcane this week. Fucking god damn it.
I mean, it has no
Right.
appeal for me, but like, yeah, my boys might want to watch it.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
the plot was kind of interesting to me because the premise is apparently Wile E. Coyote, who has been using the Acme product line for decades or whatever, apparently is trying to take down the company. I think via legally.
This
or
is like an
something like
SNL
that?
skit
Sounds
years
like-
ago.
yeah.
This was an SNL skit years ago.
So
Go
it's
on.
like, oh, okay, like for the products not working like they're supposed to, and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
kind of. Fun.
It sounds awesome. For me, it just sounds interesting. So I would definitely check this out. I'm sorry, but you know what though? I would have watched Batgirl. I
How
would have
does
watched
John
Batgirl.
Cena get involved with that?
It's a animated / live action
There's
mix.
what, like a Space Jam deal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right. Lastly in the news, we've got the What If season 2 premiere dates now finally. So it looks like this is interesting. At least Disney's trying this, releasing one episode a day from December 22nd to December 30th. Even lining up What If Happy Hogan Saved Christmas on Christmas Day. I'm looking like right now. So that's pretty cool. Or that's Christmas Eve actually. They're gonna release that one. Right? Yeah. So I don't know. I'm happy they're doing this format for a show, one a day. Especially because it's during the holiday break anyways, and who's going to have their water cooler conversations that they love to have for Disney. But interesting. A lot of the What If show was really good. I really enjoyed the fun aspect of it myself. But
Yeah.
looking forward to season 2. So I don't know. That's about it, right?
I think so.
Okay. All right, that's going to wrap up this episode of the Moviecast, folks. We're going to go to the Gamecast next. Stay tuned. Once again, we're on Twitch Tuesday night starting at 8 o'clock. Please join us live. We'll see you on the Gamecast. We are out.